Panty and Stocking is the only comedy anime I actually find funny. Like I said, mainly because of its similarity to other shows like South Park. I loved the action scenes, music, and the sexy duo. Oh boy, I love the sexy duo. And the fact that it's got more porn on Rule 34 and Gel Boru now. Don't judge me, motherfucker. Like, holy shit, aha. The art style was a blend of Y2K Dexter's Lab cartoons mixed with elements of anime, which I loved the most, and how I mostly developed Herpy in 2013, my character from my webcomic and potential series, Jay and Herpy, into being a slut-type character, despite the fact that I originally came up with her back in 2010 during my last year of high school. But back then, there was little development to the point where she was just a stick figure with tits. In terms of comedy, it's very similar to how I do comedy and the way that I write female characters, except with Panty and Stocking it was, dare I say, a diet drawn together, which some people might call Brickleberry, but that's besides the point. Why is it a diet drawn together? Well, whilst the humor can be funny, I rarely found it laugh out loud in terms of funny, like drawn together, or even the humor in Panty and Stocking. I mostly just thought of as just, yeah, and something that I just smiled and laughed a bit at. Some of it was too fast-paced and I had mixed feelings on it. But nowadays, my stance of anime has changed to the point that I find the show to be mostly cute. But I can see the love and dedication for old Western cartoons here and there. But then the second season came out, which felt like half of my fucking life. I was 15 when the anime came out. So I'd expect it to deliver after all these years, because over 15 years, it must be good, right? Even in this new age of social engineering, SJW culture of soy-faced millennials like Seth Rogen and just shitty nostalgia throwbacks and reference comedy mixed with some stupid trans right shit thrown into it. And the fact that you have grifters like Saber Sodomite saying that Panty and Stocking and Drawn together would never be made today. For the former, I'd say you'd have to take that back. When the new Panty and Stocking was announced around 2022 and 2023, I was highly cautious about it. Obviously, the whole SJW culture surrounding the West and soon to be hitting Japan. My thoughts were that if it's Japan, then it'll likely be full-on unapologetically offensive, like how things were in the 2000s and prior. But then I saw the new wave of the Zoomer fan base from Tumblr, which, were fake fans for the most part.
But they could have went about it in a different way. And when I say go about it in a different way, I mean not be racist.
Arguing about retarded shit like Garter Belt's pink donut lips to be removed in the Christian crosses, something I've discussed in the last video on Panty and Stocking, because since it's just an autistic following of mouth breathers, I can just ignore it, since it doesn't make up for the show itself. Thing is that it's hard not to when they literally removed his lips and the crosses. That's a red flag if I've ever saw one. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Drac, that is just a minor change. Calm down. Does that make up for the season's quality in general? You're right on that one, but what I'm mostly concerned with is that it sets a future standard for anime like this in terms of what rules to follow. So that's something to be really cautious of in the terms of political correctness. Remember, we can't let the SJWs win, and the fact that Amazon was hosting it, which during their track record with Has Been Hotel and The Rings of Power, I'm highly cautious. Especially around the English dub, which we will talk about later. Oh boy, we will talk about the English dub. Okay, so I've watched the first episode, and I'm not going to lie, it was a breath of fresh air when it came out. Well, considering how most anime these days looks like Berserk 2016 and has the CGI that's like a PS1 FMV, but without the charm and aesthetic. Panty and Stocking did use CGI, but only in moderation to when it was appropriate. It was at most different seeing what was a return to digital 2D animation. It stuck to its roots and did a pretty good job. The writing, I'm afraid, might be toned down in future episodes, but we'll wait and see. Now, spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't seen the new episode. Just a heads up. So the beginning starts off with Brief giving a catch-up from the end of the previous season where Panty gets killed by Stocking. Then we cut to new footage where it looks like Garter Belt wiped off his lipstick all of a sudden and says that it's been 5 minutes and not 15 years since her death. So they figure that Stocking is being mind-controlled by Corset, which, let's be honest, she's stupid, but she does look cute right here. And then she turns into a demon, wrecking the whole city. So far, it's got the silly humor of the original, so I'm hoping for the best. Then they realize that she's being mind controlled by Corset, and the gang try and rebuild her from all the 666 pieces. That is until they realize that they only had 665, and transform her into a shy but cute Panty. Then they get the other piece and insert it in her vagina. Yes, we actually get to see her vagina in this episode, which I'd say in terms of obscenity, I'd say it's been toned up maybe, or I don't know. I haven't watched the original show in like forever. And Brief's mind, they actually make fun of SJWs, which is surprising since that's literally the new fandom of the show, being a bunch of they/thems in their Twitter bio. Although it's not as brutal as, let's say, how South Park did with PC Principal.
Social justice, 1, 2, 3. Woo, woo. I wanna be PC. Woo, woo. It's just the way to be for me and you. Woo, woo. Your hateful slurs are through. Woo, woo. I call woo woo on you. Woo, woo. We'll fight until you're PC black and blue. Woo, woo. We are language police, fighting bigotry. Hurtful words can suck our turds, cause it's PC for me and you. Woo, woo. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah, PC, bro.
But I don't know, it could take a turn for the better. After all, it is the first episode where it's mostly action focused like Bitch to Bitch was. Then we get Panty's ass, which, well, yeah. Then we get a well-animated fight between Panty and Stocking, which happens to be more gruesome than the original. Then Garterbelt stops the fight between the two whores, and then they say that they have to go to a theater, which persuades Panty and ask everyone for a ride, which Stocking replies politely, which to me sounded a bit out of character for Stocking, knowing how sarcastic and tsundere she is. Although during the cussing, I've only heard bitch and fuck, and not cunt or slut. Something that the dub did back then with its excessive swearing and sometimes racist jokes, which were more edgy than this.
I knew it. It's sweet shit. Sorry, those pedophile moves don't work on me anymore. So.
Of course not. Why would you say that? I'm naturally petite and thin. I'm the reason tweens make themselves hurl.
Ambassador for fatties that think they should get to be loved for who they are on the inside. It's cool. Your tits keep you from looking like a little girl. I get it. Then when he gives you candy, you won't feel like you're hooking up with a pedophile.
Man, I'm turning emo. I gotta eat before I start the cutting!
Which is fine if they're nice, but I don't like Asperger's with extra ass.
Oh yeah, Alibaba, curry rice.
Gross! He hit it in his camel's face!
I still need to watch the sub for the original season, by the way, since I've had it on Blu-ray for years now, which might be potential foreshadowing that they might be toning some things down, but I don't know. And then it ends... Not gonna lie, it was good, but not great. Everything was mostly close to the original, but no cigar. Mainly due to the problems that I've just mentioned earlier on. But either way, I am waiting for the next episode to be premiered this Wednesday. Now, in case you can't tell, I did watch the sub first. Then I watched the English dub, which was right on time of the season's release, since I thought that I'd take like 2 years, like the Funimation one did. Speaking of, I did watch the English dub, and it was mostly as you'd expect from the sub, except that Garterbelt did have a Samuel L. Jackson vibe going for him, which I thought was an improvement. But it was just all the same, and Stocking's voice actor sounded like her Japanese original. Stocking's voice actress is a nice girl in real life, by the way. Nothing wrong there, but like I said, there could be potential foreshadowing. Speaking of foreshadowing, there has been a lot of SJW shit that English voice actors have been doing since Trump got elected in his first presidency. The obvious being Funimation. And when I thought that the English voice actors couldn't do the most predictable shit until I saw what Ryan Barley did. Now, this tweet is innocent at first, but look closely. Honored to be donning the knee socks for new Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. Truly, the right projects find you. One of the things I want most in life is to use my art specifically for feminist comedy. I promise to take good care of her. Don't let the last words fool you. Trust me, she's a woman, and Panty and Stocking being a feminist comedy? No, it fucking isn't. If you were to show this to feminists and even women like my mother with some progressive views, she'd call it degrading and sex towards woman, just like how she thought I was sexist because I went to a strip club. So no, I don't think your argument works here. And I and another user told her that it isn't a feminist comedy and talked about it in a retweet. Then I got blocked by her, and she was supposedly hiding and deleting comments for criticism, and especially comments relating to the old actress for knee socks, which really goes to show what kind of person we're dealing with. And it's not only that, but the new actress for Panty has this in her bio. Do I really need to overly explain why this is fucking cringeworthy? But yeah, really makes you think, huh? So if I were you, just go watch the original sub. If you detect any SJW shit in the dub, then don't be surprised. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I might do this for every Panty and Stalking episode released. I don't know. But till then, take care, cunt.